Alright, so y'all go ahead and do the factoring and the math knowledge question for today. Pause the video, and once everyone is finished, you can unpause the video and I'll go over the correct answers. So for the factoring, you're going to do remove, replace, reduce. So you'll have x squared plus 12x plus 36. And then when you replace and factor, you'll have 4x plus 6 times 4x plus 6. These both divide by 2, which will give you 2x plus 3 times 2x plus 3. And you can also write that as just 2x plus 30 squared. For the math knowledge question, we have gear P that has 17 teeth, and it tells us it makes 15 revolutions. So 17 times 15 means that it's going to use up 255 teeth over those revolutions. And gear Q has 51 teeth, and it needs to use up the same number of teeth. So times how many revolutions is going to give us 255 teeth that are used. And so if you divide that, R is going to give you 5. So that's how many revolutions we would have to have, because they're going to use the same number of teeth. P is a lot smaller, so it's going to have way more revolutions than Q. So it has 15, and this one only has 5. Alright, so we're looking at lesson 44 today. We're going to look at some abstract rate problems. So abstract means that we're going to have variables in our answer. We're not going to have 2 or 3/4 or something for our final answer. It's just going to be a random fraction. So hopefully you'll understand how abstract rate problems work after this lesson. Our formula is our rate times the number of items equals our price, or R times the number equals the price. If you solve for R, you get price per number of items. And that's how you would tell, yeah, I got these for $10 each. Price per number of items. So let's look here. Peter purchased P pencils for D dollars. So we're going to start off by finding a rate there. We're never going to know the rate to start with. They tell us that we purchased a number P and our amount was D. So our rate is D over P. And this is cost per item. And then it says if P pencils had cost X more dollars. So that's not a cost per item, that's a cost total. So we're not going to change this rate. We're going to come back up here and change our price. So we are still using, P pencils. And instead of spending just D, we spent X total. So the rate on the number of items is going to be D plus X over P. And then we want to know how many pencils could he have purchased for $20. So our rate is D plus X over P. We don't know how many we purchased, but we know that we have $20 to spend. And so if you multiply both sides by the reciprocal, the number of items would be 20 times P over D plus X. And that'd be your answer. So on this one, we started by finding one rate, and then we didn't end up using it really. We ended up having to find a new rate. Sometimes we're going to add the X here, and instead of adding it over to the total D. And that would be if it said X more dollars per item. So you have to pay attention to whether they tell you a change in the price per item or the change in the total price. So let's look at another example. The coach purchased B basketballs for X dollars. So if we do rate times the number of items equals the price. So we purchased B basketballs for X dollars. And so our rate would be X over B. And then it says each basketball was $3 less. So that's a price per item change. So we're going to change this price per item here. So we're going to subtract 3 from it, which means that our rate is actually X minus 3B over B. And then it says how many basketballs could we have purchased for $200? So our rate was x minus 3b over b. We don't know how many we can purchase, but we know that we can spend $200. So if you multiply by the reciprocal, you'll get 200b over x minus 3b. And so that would be the number of basketballs you could get. So depending on the information, that's going to determine whether you use your rate here and you change it, or if we had gone back up to the x and subtracted the 3. Okay, we're going to look at another example. We have an assembly line. M workers worked H hours to produce C articles. So the formula we're going to use on this one is RTW equals J. Again, we never know our rate to start with. They tell us the time was H and the workers were M. And so the C is the number of articles we're producing. That's our job. So our rate is C over HM. So now we come back up here. Our rate is C over HM. D workers quit. How many hours would we have to work? So the time is what we're looking for. Our workers, we started with M, and now we have D fewer. So M minus D. And then the articles are C. So if I distribute here, I would have CM minus CD over HM. Because you're multiplying here, so this is over 1. C times the M minus D, and then HM times the 1. And then if we multiply by the reciprocal, we'll get CHM over CM minus CD, which this can be reduced because there's a C in all three terms, which will leave you with HM over M minus D. And so that would be how long it would take. So again, it's abstract because you get some random thing for your answer. Okay, we're going to look at one more example. Charles had P pounds of food, and this would feed M workers for D days. So again, we're going to use RTW equals J. So we don't know our rate. D is our time. M is our workers. So that means that the P has to be the job. We're eating food. That's our job here for the workers. So our rate would be P over DM. So P over DM. How long would that food last? So we're looking for a time to feed M plus 30 workers. So M plus 30, and the food is still P. So again, we're going to distribute. So T times MP plus 30P over DM equals P. And then if you multiply by the reciprocal, you'll get DMP over MP plus 30P. And then again, there's a P in all three terms that'll cancel. And that'll give you DM over M plus 30. And so that would be your answer there. So you're using some similar formulas to what we've been using. You just get a random hodgepodge of letters and numbers for your answer. But that's how you do your abstract rate problems, basically. Okay, so your homework tonight, 1 through 30, and then you're going to have a trig quiz whenever you take lesson 46. It's going to be your last trig quiz, so make sure that y'all are studying your unit circle so you can do really well on this one.